4 F-16s swarmed a J-35, only one came back. The scramble. The alarm klaxons shattered the stillness of dawn. Inside the hardened shelters, ground crews sprinted into action, their boots clattering against the concrete. 4 F-16 fighting Falcons, their canopies already open, waited like predators on a leash. The order was simple, direct, and urgent. Intercept an unidentified aircraft closing fast on national airspace. Captain Raza, the flight lead, slid into his cockpit, strapping in with practiced precision. His heart rate barely changed. He had scrambled dozens of times before, but something about the terse voice on the radio-controlled but sharp told him this wasn't routine. Engines roared alive in unison. Afterburners lit the runway in orange as the 4 jets thundered upward, breaking through the thin morning haze. The sun was still low, painting the clouds blood red, casting their formation in a surreal glow. Target is 60 miles east, Angels 30, ground control relayed. The blip on their radars pulsed steady, unflinching. No transponder, no ID, just an intruder daring to cross a line. The 4 Falcons climbed higher, spreading into combat formation. Captain Raza adjusted his oxygen mask and narrowed his eyes. Whoever was waiting for them out there wasn't just trespassing, he was challenging them. First contact. The sky stretched endlessly above 30,000 feet, a canvas of pale blue streaked with high cirrus clouds. The 4 F-16s cut through the air in a diamond, their radars sweeping, sensors straining. Then they saw it. The intruder appeared as a dark silhouette against the rising sun. Sleek, angular, almost predatory in its design, it was nothing like the lumbering bombers or lost civilian aircraft they sometimes intercepted. This was a fighter. And not just any fighter. Contact visual, Raza reported, his voice clipped. The J-35 glided effortlessly, its surfaces sharp, its stealthy frame catching the light in flashes. It made no attempt to turn away, no evasive roll, no sign of alarm. Instead, it seemed to watch them, wings steady, nose pointed as if measuring each Falcon in turn. The F-16s tightened their formation. Unidentified aircraft, this is Falcon 1. You are entering restricted airspace. Turn immediately or we will engage. Static hissed back through the comms. No acknowledgement. No compliance. The J-35 banked lazily, showing its profile, then leveled out again. Deliberately slow as though mocking their presence. Raza felt a knot form in his stomach. Something about this pilot, this machine, was utterly wrong. The warning, the air was tense inside the cockpits. For pilots breathing in rhythm through their oxygen masks waited for the intruder's response. Nothing came. Only the steady hum of engines and the faint crackle of radio static filled their ears. Falcon 2, tighten spacing. Falcon 3, flank left. Raza ordered, his eyes never left the shadowy shape ahead. The J-35's movements were unnerving, too smooth, too deliberate. It wasn't reacting like a nervous pilot caught in the wrong airspace. It was behaving like a predator circling its prey. Unidentified aircraft, Raza repeated firmly. You are instructed to turn heading 180. Failure to comply will be considered hostile intent. The J-35 dipped its nose slightly, almost like a bow, then slid to the right in a wide, graceful arc. Its wings shimmered briefly in the sunlight before it settled again on a course parallel to the Falcons. Not retreating, not advancing, just staying close enough to remind them it was still there. Is he taunting us? Falcon 4 muttered. Raza didn't answer. His gut twisted. Everything about the encounter screamed wrong. The silence, the calm maneuvers, the defiance. Whatever they were facing, it wasn't just another fighter pilot making a mistake. It was a challenge. The ambush, without warning. The J-35 vanished. One moment it was there, cruising alongside them like a phantom. The next it simply slipped off every radar screen. The Falcons' cockpits filled with sharp beeps as their systems scrambled to reacquire the target. Lost contact, confirm. Falcon 3 barked. Negative lock. I've got nothing, Raza replied, scanning frantically. His heartbeat pounded in his ears. An aircraft that size shouldn't just disappear. Then the world erupted. A blinding flash tore across the sky, followed by a thunderous boom. Falcon 2's jet disintegrated in midair, swallowed by a ball of flame. Shards of burning metal tumbled through the thin clouds, leaving only a black smear where his friend had been seconds before. Missile launch. Defensive. Defensive. Falcon 3 shouted, braking hard left. The formations scattered in panic. Their radars still showed nothing. The enemy was invisible, a ghost striking from nowhere. Raza's breathing grew shallow. He had led countless sorties, but never had he felt this helpless. Their opponent wasn't just evading it, was hunting them. And with one Falcon already gone, the message was clear. This was only the beginning. The counterattack, the 3 surviving F-16s wheeled apart, each pilot forcing himself to breathe, to push down the rising panic. Training drilled into them like instinct, took over spread formation, cross cover, keep moving. Somewhere out there, the J-35 lurked unseen, its presence like a phantom hand tightening around their throats. Falcon 3, eyes high, Raza ordered, scanning the horizon. Falcon 4, stay on my wing. We force him out. He armed a pair of AIM-120 AMRMs, thumb hovering over the trigger switch. His radar flickered, caught a shadow, lost it again. Then there, a faint glimmer off the nose at 2 o'clock. Contact reacquired, Raza barked. The Falcons reacted instantly. 3 missile trails streaked into the sky, white contrails carving through the blue. They converged on the J-35, explosions rocking the air. For a heartbeat, it seemed over. But the intruder burst from the smoke, rolling sharply, untouched. It dove between the missile wakes with a fluid grace that made Raza's stomach tighten. This wasn't just advanced technology, this was a pilot who knew them, who read their movements before they even made them. The J-35 retaliated with lethal precision. A missile streaked from beneath its wing. Falcon 3 pulled hard, flares streaking behind him. But it was too late. The missile slammed into his tail, shredding the jet in a bloom of fire. Falcon 3 is hit. Eject, eject, Raza cried, but his headset filled only with static. His friend's jet spiraled down, trailing smoke until it vanished into the haze below. Now only 2 Falcons remained. Ross's jaw clenched. Falcon 4, with me. We end this now. Somewhere in the distance, the J-35 leveled its wings, waiting, patient, as though daring them to try again. The Predator, 2 F-16s remained, their contrails cutting desperate arcs across the sky. Raza and Falcon 4 flew close. Back to back, their formation tight, each pilot's eyes darting in every direction, straining to catch the ghost that had just slain 2 of their own. Stay sharp, Raza muttered, his voice a taut wire. He's out here. He's watching us. Falcon 4's breathing came heavy. Overcome, sir. This isn't a normal engagement. He knows where we are before we move. Raza didn't disagree. The J-35's maneuvers weren't just fast, they were calculated. Every roll, every dive seemed designed not to win quickly, but to break their nerves. Then it appeared. The stealth fighter slid out from the clouds above, descending like a hawk. Its silhouette was menacing, jagged edges glinting in the sun. For a moment, it didn't fire, it simply hung there, wings angled, as if studying them. Missile lock, brake right, Raza snapped. Both Falcons rolled hard, chaff and flare streaking behind. A missile tore past, close enough to rattle their cockpits with turbulence. Falcon 4 cursed. He's toying with us. He could have killed me. Raza knew he was right. The J-35 wasn't just engaging them, it was playing with them. Like a predator testing the herd. It struck just enough to separate, to scare, to exhaust. The 2 Falcons tried to counter. They dove, rolled, climbed, searching for an angle. But every attempt to flank was met with eerie anticipation. The J-35 always shifted just out of reach, as though it could read their intentions before their hands moved the sticks. Falcon 4, keep moving. Don't let him pin us, Raza ordered, though his throat was dry. Deep inside he felt something colder than fear. This wasn't a duel between equals. This was prey trying to outlast the hunter. The J-35 swept across their noses, then pulled vertical, climbing into the sun. Both Falcons craned upward, trying to keep sight, but the glare blinded them. Lost him, Falcon 4's voice cracked. And then the radar screamed again. The Predator was behind them. The last stand. The warning tones shrieked in Raza's headset. The J-35 had slipped behind them. The kill zone every pilot dreaded. Brake, 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 Raza yelled. He pulled hard, the G-forces crushing him into his seat. Falcon 4 veered opposite, both jets scattering in a desperate bid to shake their stalker. The J-35 didn't chase immediately. It hovered at a distance, a dark silhouette against the burning horizon, letting them burn fuel and nerves. Raza realized with horror it was in no rush. The intruder was letting them tire themselves out. Falcon 4, we're not outrunning him, Raza said, voice steady despite the knot in his chest. We make a stand here. Full salvo. Everything we've got. Falcon 4 hesitated. Sir, if that's an order. They swung their jets around in unison, 2 Falcons against the Phantom. The sky exploded with firepower. MRMs streaked first, contrails weaving like angry serpents. Sidewinders followed. Then cannon fire, shells ripping the air in glowing streams. For a heartbeat, it felt like the heavens themselves were shattering. Flashes engulfed the J-35, smoke billowed, radar signatures flickered. Falcon 4 whooped over comes direct hits. We got him. But Raza's gut stayed heavy. He kept his eyes locked on the cloud of fire ahead. The smoke split. The J-35 cut through the inferno untouched, its fuselage gleaming, rolling inverted with predatory grace. It had evaded every shot, every trap. Not a scratch. Impossible, Falcon 4 whispered. The intruder leveled its wings. Then it struck. A missile detached, streaking straight at Falcon 4. He flared desperately, pulling hard, his jet twisting through the air like a leaf in a storm. The missile followed, inexorable. Raza's scream filled the comms as Falcon 4's jet vanished in a fiery bloom, fragments scattering like ashes on the wind. The sky went silent again. Only 1 Falcon remained, and the Predator was still there waiting. Silence. The explosion faded, leaving only drifting smoke and the faint hiss of static in Raza's headset. Falcon 4 was gone. 3 men he had led into the sky now burned in the sea below, their voices erased in fire. And he was alone. The silence pressed in. At 30,000 feet, the roar of his F-16's engine felt distant, muffled, like a heartbeat underwater. Raza's eyes darted across the sky, scanning for contrails, flares, anything to give him a bearing. But the horizon stretched empty, endless. Then he saw it. The J-35 emerged from the haze, gliding effortlessly, not rushing, not chasing, just watching. Its presence was suffocating. It didn't need to fire, it didn't need to speak. By leaving him alive, it was forcing him to absorb the silence, to feel the crushing weight of survival. Raza's oxygen mask was damp with sweat. His breath came quick, shallow. Falcon, lead to control. He rasped. Static answered. The J-35 was jamming communications. He was cut off, marooned in the sky with a phantom. The intruder rolled slowly, showing its profile before banking back toward him. The motion was deliberate, theatrical, as if to say, "You're next, but I'll decide when." Raza tightened his grip on the stick. His F-16 felt heavy, sluggish. He checked his fuel running low. Weapon spent, it hit him with cold finality. He had nothing left to fight with. And yet the J-35 didn't strike. It stayed close, just out of reach, hovering like a shadow. The hunter wasn't here for efficiency. It was here for dominance, for fear. Alone in the cockpit, surrounded by endless sky and the ghosts of his fallen wingmen, Raza whispered the truth he dared not say aloud on comms. This isn't a pilot. It's a monster. The J-35's silhouette slid back into the clouds, leaving him trembling in the silence, unsure if it was gone or only waiting for the final blow. The survivor, the sky was a graveyard. Smoke trails curled like black scars across the horizon, and the last echoes of Falcon 4's explosion still rang in Raza's helmet. The silence after the chaos was worse than the noise it pressed against him. Heavy, suffocating, filling his cockpit like a phantom presence. 3 men gone, brothers in arms, wingman he had trusted with his life. Now it was just him and the J-35. It floated in the distance, steady, composed, as if untouched by the battle that had just annihilated his flight. There was no urgency in its movements, no waste, no panic. Just a predator circling the last survivor of the herd. Raza's training screamed at him, regroup, re-engage, fight. But what could he fight with? His missile racks were empty, his cannon nearly dry, his fuel needle sinking toward critical. He had brought his men into this fight confident in their skill, their numbers. Now he realized none of it had mattered. The intruder hadn't just been faster, it hadn't just been stealthier. It had known. Every roll, every climb, every desperate defensive maneuver had been anticipated, countered, answered before it even began. Raza had led countless sorties, fought in countless simulations, but never had he faced something that seemed to be inside his mind, pulling his strings. The J-35 shifted slightly, sliding through a bank of clouds, reappearing on the other side with predatory elegance, not attacking, just waiting. "You're sparing me," Raza muttered under his breath, voice trembling inside the mask. Why? Why me? The thought struck him like a lightning bolt. It wasn't mercy, it wasn't indecision, it was intent. The J-35 wanted him alive. It wanted him to carry the story back, to spread the fear, to deliver the message. The age of the Falcon was over. Raza's jaw tightened. His pride screamed to turn back, to fight until the very last drop of fuel, to deny the phantom its satisfaction. But another voice, quieter, steadier, spoke louder. "If you die here, no one will know what you saw. No one will believe what happened. Your men will be remembered as casualties of a skirmish, nothing more." His hands trembled on the stick. He hated it, hated turning away, hated giving ground, but he owed it to his fallen wingman to live, to speak, to warn. "All right," he whispered, setting his course for home. "I'll play your messenger." The Falcon dipped into a shallow descent, engine straining as the fuel gauge dipped lower. Behind him, the J-35 followed for a few haunting seconds, its silhouette sharp against the morning sun. Then, with chilling precision, it peeled upward, vanishing into the clouds as if it had never existed. For the first time in hours, Raza was alone in the sky. But the loneliness wasn't relief, it was worse, because he understood the truth. The phantom had let him live, not out of weakness but out of strength. He wasn't the victor, he was the witness. The horizon burned red with dawn as the airbase came into view. His F-16 was battered, low on fuel, and nearly empty of ammunition, but it carried something heavier than steel and firepower. It carried the story. 3 Falcons had fallen. Only one had come back. And the predator had chosen him to bear the warning, the debrief. The runway loomed ahead like a lifeline. Raza's Falcon touched down with a screech, tires smoking as the jet shuddered under the strain. He pulled the brakes hard, the nose dipping before finally slowing to a crawl. His hands refused to stop shaking. Ground crews rushed in as the canopy lifted, their faces expectant, their eyes searching the sky behind him. They had watched for fighters vanish into the morning haze. Only one had returned. Their silence was louder than any question. Raza removed his helmet, his hair matted with sweat. He climbed down slowly, knees weak, boots hitting the tarmac like they carried the weight of ghosts. No one asked him anything, no one dared. Minutes later, he was in the debriefing room. The air was cold, the walls sterile, but the atmosphere was suffocating. Generals, intelligence officers, and engineers crowded the space, eyes fixed on him. The projector hummed, waiting for him to recount what he had seen. Raza stared at his reflection in the polished table before speaking. His voice was hoarse, but steady. "We didn't fight an aircraft," he began. "We fought something else." He described the encounter in measured words, how the J-35 had vanished from radar at will, how it had danced through their volleys like smoke, how it seemed to know their moves before they made them. He told them how it didn't just kill it, hunted, toyed, and demonstrated superiority before striking. The officers scribbled notes, some exchanging skeptical glances, but none interrupted. The weight in Ross's eyes left no room for dismissal. "It wasn't flying like a man," he continued, fists tightening on the table. "It was cold, precise and human. My men never had a chance. It let me live for one reason, to send a message." He leaned forward, eyes burning into the room. "And I am that message." The room was still. No one argued. No one offered comfort. The truth was too sharp to soften. 4 jets had gone up. 3 were gone. 1 returned carrying a warning written in fire across the morning sky. Raza exhaled, shoulders heavy. "If we meet it again, it won't just be us. It will be anyone who dares to challenge it." That wasn't a fighter we faced. That was a predator, and it won. Silence swallowed the room. Not the silence of disbelief, but of grim recognition. The men and women in uniform knew what his words meant. The age of the Falcon had ended, and the predator had claimed the skies.